Okay, as I said, the poem Mending Wall really is an example of narrative poetry where the speaker here is telling us a story about his own situation with this wall. He and his neighbor are having differences, or if you like, at least his neighbor always wants to have this wall high, and the speaker is wondering, why do we need this wall? And I think, as I said to you here, if you I can again share the screen again with you. Yeah, can you see the screen now? My screen? Yeah.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. So as I told you, really, this is a nice poem. It's telling the story of the two neighbors who have differences concerning having or not having this wall. And they have to mend this wall every year, every spring, every time. And the neighbor is always insisting that he wants this wall up. And the speaker doesn't understand why. And the neighbor always says to him, well, as he said, his father told him, good fences make good neighbors. Good fences make good neighbors. Well, maybe this is the situation that we think that. But you see, sometimes you ask yourself, why do you need a wall? What are you really walling in or walling out? This is the situation here. As I told you, I have explained the whole thing here, as you can see, and I'm sure if you read it, and you should read it because it's very clear, really very clear. I gave it to you all here, as you can see, the whole thing. I'm not going to read this for you again. Please read it, and it's explained and it's analyzed for you here in really a nice way. So really the wall here is seen as a metaphor. It's really the relationship between neighbors here, and sometimes we really wonder about that in many ways. Sometimes this is could be, as I said, metaphorical, or could be real. And sometimes, yes, we have high walls. Now, if you look around your neighbors, sometimes you might see, even here, if you like, everywhere in the world, I think, you find really, really high walls. And again, our but you see here in this, if we don't have it here, kind of a blank verse, that means it's not free, but there is meter. You can I don't know. I lost connection again. Yeah.
Doctor, I think because of the sharing of the screen. When you share your screen, the connection gets weaker.
Why? I mean, I don't know. Really, that's the reason?
That's when it happens, يعني, every time now.
No, I have to show you the screen. I mean, it's if you but do you have the poem in front of you?
Yes, I have the file in front of me.
You have the file, you can see it, you can follow with me without sharing the screen? Girls?
Yes,
I don't, yeah, yeah. Okay, I mean, if you want, then I can really stop sharing, but I can explain without sharing, no problem. So you can see the poem here. As I said, I was trying to really to show you here the poem. There is meter, but there's no rhyme. We say wall, you know, then you say under it, and then sun, and then a breast, and then thing, and repair, stone, hiding. No rhyme, no rhyme. But the meter you can see is iambic, something, unstressed stress, there is, that does not love a wall. Really, this is, if you like, what we call here, if you want, the meter as iambic pentameter, again, 5 feet. So the poem here is clear. He's saying that, you know, he said nature everywhere he thinks, believes that, you know, that does not like this wall, and he is not happy with it. Even he said the ground itself swells up and you know, tears it down. And that's why he said that sends the frozen ground swell under it, that spills the support boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can't pass abreast. The works of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair. You know, he's saying, asking why this wall is being torn. Was it the hunters? Who's doing this? And again, he said, I'm trying to find out who is tearing this wall down every time. Where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. You know, again, he's saying, is it something like outside power? Could be hunters, could be nature, could be you know, some strange creatures, and so on. And that's why he's saying here, the gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. He said, the way this wall is being torn down, the gaps into this wall, he said, no one sees how these gaps are made and torn down. And again, he said, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill. And on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. He said, he asked his neighbor, he said, our wall is torn down again. And his neighbor will walk along the wall, and his neighbor said, I want to fix this wall again. And that's why he said, we keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves, and some so nearly bowls, meaning, you know, these stones, some of them are small, some of them are big, and some of them really are very big. We can't build them, and it's very hard to build them. And you know, he's saying this really in a funny way, and the poem goes on really in a very interesting fashion. Notice he says, stay where you are until our backs are turned. He's speaking here to the stone and to the wall. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Our hands became really very rough because of building using the stone. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game one on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. You know, he's saying maybe for some people this is like a game, but he said really, you know, I don't believe we need this wall. And that's what he said, you know, he said, we really don't need this wall. Here, he said, he is all pine and I am apple orchard, meaning my neighbor has in his garden only apple trees, and I have my neighbor has pine trees, and my orchard or my garden has apple trees. And he said, my apple trees will never get across, you know. My apple trees will not move to his garden. So why are we worried? My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He said, you know, there's no harm, you know, between us. So why should we need this wall? And he said, my neighbor always says, good fences make good neighbors. Yeah, I mean, really, this is true in a way. I mean, it could be true in a way. Do you believe that? Yeah, Allah. Allah.
Fences.
Good fences make good neighbors. Correct? Do you have a wall around your house? You have
No.
a big wall around your house, guys. Yeah?
Mr.
Yeah?
I think that might be symbolic, because boundaries are necessarily in every or any relationship.
Yeah, boundaries are necessary in any relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know I think I agree with you to some extent. I think it's true in a way that we keep our own privacy, we keep our own things. Yes, I have nothing to do with my neighbor's garden or you know, field or whatever, but still to have a wall between us will be a good thing, he's saying. And I think in a way it's true. But you see, he's saying, of course, he's using the wall in a metaphorical sense to say, as if to say, you know, we don't communicate with our neighbors. We don't talk and communicate with our neighbors and our people. And to say, why do we keep shut? Why do we shut things, you know, amongst or between us? Of course, this symbolically and metaphorically speaking, we may say, yeah, okay, but, you know, the actual physical wall sometimes really is necessary. And the neighbor, when he says, you know, good walls or good fences, he said, make good neighbors. I think this is true in many ways. Again, he said, spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. And he said, always I try to tell him in spring, I always try to tell him, to tell my neighbor, come on, stop doing this. We should stop building this wall again and again. And again, he, you know, also said, why do they make good neighbors? You know, he's asking him, why do you think they make good neighbors? And he said, where there are cows, but here there are no cows. He said, yes, they could be good when you have cows or sheep or horses or anything to come across to my house. Of course, as I said, really he means here in a metaphorical sense. And again, he said, before I built a wall, I would ask to know what I was walling in or walling out. You know, this is really the phrase here. He said walling in and walling out, as if to say to wall in like imprisoning yourself within your walls, or walling out means you have a wall to save yourself from the enemies outside. You know, this is the difference between walling in and walling out. Really, it's a very nice verb here to use to say I am walling in or walling out my enemy here, if you like, in a way. And he goes on, and to whom I was like to give offense. You know, he said, if I say this to him, my neighbor will be offended, will be unhappy with me and angry with me. And he goes on and he says, something there is that does not love a wall. He said, there's something in this nature between me and my neighbor. There is something there really which does not like this wall. And he said, is it elves? You know, devils? Is it devils, or what is it which is turning it down? But it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. Yeah, well, really, this is a nice story. And remember, this is a narrative. And as I give you here my analysis, please read that. It's all really very interesting and very important for you. In the exam, remember, in the exam, you can't copy this word for word. You have, if you want to use this, of course you can use it, but you have to use it in your own phraseology, your own, you know, language, okay? Because if you copy it like this, then it'll show that it's plagiarized. Okay, so I say here, we said blank verse. Notice here, Mending Walls is a long one-stanza poem. It's written in blank verse and contains, as I said, a narrative-like style. You know, the poem really is very nice like this, if you follow it here, like the narrator speaking, always telling us about his neighbor and the situation and the garden and his, you know, the idea about what is walling in and what was walling out and so on. You know, this is really a nice story as an example, okay? So really, this is the poem. If you don't have any question about it, then I'll move on to the next example, which is really lyric poetry. Yeah, any question?
No, doctor.
Okay, so if you don't have any questions, then I will move on to the next point here is, which is, as I said, really you know, lyric poetry, as we have in our outline. The next, so we started with narrative poetry, now we move on to lyric poetry. And lyric poetry, as I said, really most of the English poetry we have can be seen as lyrical, or something like, you know, written in lyrics. So the first example I give you is William Wordsworth. Really is a very nice poem by him called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. And I think I have it here with Wordsworth here, as you can see. Maybe if I can. It's,
Doctor, what page is it?
At page 27, and I will show you page 27. If you want, I can share only for a little bit to show you where exactly I'm talking about. Here, I wandered lonely as a cloud. You can see it here. Page 27 in the booklet that I sent you. You found it?
Yes.
Yeah. So really, the poem here is quite easy to follow, and this is what we call really a very good example of lyrical poetry. Most of, really, to be honest with you, most of I should say, really most of the romantic poetry, most of it is written in the lyric form. If you can see here, all these sections here by Wordsworth, really the next one and the next one and the next one, you can see all of those really as examples of lyrical poetry. In fact, even Wordsworth, really, you know, on the page before this, you can see here, you know, the book that he published, or volume of poetry that he published with his friend and colleague Coleridge. They called it Lyrical Ballads. Again, notice he said ballads and then lyrical, meaning really, in a way, all romantic poetry, or English romantic poetry, really, in a way, is written in this way, if you like, in the lyric form, or again, which is the same in a way, ballad, you know. Again, the ballad, which is the very simple, short, you know, form of poetry, rhymed and also metered. So here in this poem, the poet is, the speaker here is talking, you know, about this in a very romantic way. Notice, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So notice here the rhyme: cloud, crowd, hills, dills, and trees, breeze. You know, this is we call, you know, AB. Notice cloud, hills, AB, crowd, daffodils, AB. So AB, AB, and then trees, breeze, which means CC, isn't it? So AB, AB, CC. This is the first stanza. I'm talking here about the rhyme: cloud, crowd, hills, daffodils, the trees, the breeze. You know, this is what I mean by rhyme. And the meter: I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud. You know, again, you can see it here really as iambic tetrameter. Tetra, really, meter. I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud. You know, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress. Iambic tetrameter means 4. I wandered lonely, 2, li as 3, a cloud 4. Are you following, girls and boys?
Yes.
Do you see what I'm doing here? Again, you can see that floats on high over, again over, but here really, because the fa is not, it's not clear, so that's why I say over vales and hills. Over, you know, to make it really rhyme here. That floats on high over, really, there's no va, you know, the va is not there, but we say, vales and hills. So again, the same thing, unstressed stress, unstressed stress, unstressed stress, unstressed stress. 4, tetrameter. When all, notice this, the third one, when all at once I saw a crowd. Unstressed stress, when all at once I saw a crowd. Unstressed stress, unstressed stress, unstressed stress, unstressed stress. 4, tetrameter. Again, a host of golden da. Notice here, da. A host 1 of gold 2, din da. 3, fudils 4. Are you following?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
I'm trying to make it. Maybe I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit, because I want to teach you really how you divide the line, and we call this scanning, to scan the line. And in the exam, I will ask you later to scan a line. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you here, I'm showing you how to do it. We do it according to syllables. Okay, a host of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees. You know, really is nice, fluttering, dancing in the breeze, and so on. Now, really, this is a lovely poem here. The speaker, the poet, is talking about these daffodils. And he's talking about himself, you know, about his walking around lonely. And he said, I'm lonely like this cloud. And this cloud, which is flying over, high over the valleys and the hills everywhere. And he said, when I saw a crowd of hosts, you know, he's saying, I was looking up, I was looking far and near and everywhere, and I can see a lot, he said, crowd, host, golden daffodils, you know, these yellow, lovely daffodils. And I think you know what daffodils, these yellow, absolutely lovely, you know, colored, you know, like flowers, or not roses, but something like those. Again, he said, everywhere I see them, he said, beside the lake, beneath the trees, and they are all dancing, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, because the way they are moving is so lovely and so beautiful. In fact, if you want, I can show you just as examples of daffodils, just to show you the way they look. Yeah. Yes, if I share my screen just to show you this, what I mean. Oh, where are they? Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Sometimes, yeah, let me see. Save image as, I want to save it. Yes, let me show you. I like. Yeah, I want to show you just. Yeah, I'm sure you know it. Can you see? This is what we call daffodils. You have them here in this country. Do you see it? Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm sure you have this in this country, isn't it?
I don't know.
Really? It's everywhere. We have it in Syria. It's natural, and it grows. I'm sure in Al Jabal Akhdar and in areas in Salalah and in places like this, in mountains, in cold, wintry mountains, they grow. They are very natural, lovely, absolutely lovely looking, as you can see. This is in many places in the world you see them, and really this is what he is saying here about daffodils, and really this is what he's talking about it. In a very romantic way. He describes, notice again, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margins of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in springly dance. Again, he's describing these flowers. He's saying they look like, you know, shining like stars everywhere. And he's comparing this field of daffodils, you know, saying twinkling like the Milky Way. You know, the Milky Way in sky, we call this in Arabic Darb al-Tabbana, which is really the very absolutely a lot of stars there. We call this Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line. You know, you can look at them and look at them and look at them endlessly. Again, he said, along the margin of a bay, you know, around the lakes everywhere. And he said, they are all dancing and tossing their heads. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sprawling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth to show to me had brought. Again, he's saying in the same thing, repeating about this, how they are dancing and the way they are, again, like waves in glee. And the way he said, I looking at them as a poet, I'm very happy. And the word, really, the word gay in the old days, it means really happy, to be very happy and pleasant and pleased. He's saying, you know, any poet would look at them, would be very happy to see them to be in such company, because he said, I live. And you know, by the way, and this is real, really, Wordsworth and Coleridge, they lived in the Lake Districts in the northwest of England, in Lancashire, in the Lake District in Lancashire, or near western of Lancaster, today in northwestern England. And they lived there in the Lake Districts, where you have all this in real life. And he said, I gazed and gazed, means looked and looked. All the time I was looking, and I was always thinking, really, how lovely this view is. And notice here, what wealth the show to me had brought. Means when I look at this view, you know, I feel absolutely infatuated and very happy. Again, the last stanza, he goes on, notice, for oft when on my couch I lie, again, unstressed, stress, for oft when on my couch I lie, you know, he said, oft means often, means I often lie on my couch, on my sofa, in my place, I get relaxed, notice, in vacant or in pensive mood, whether I'm busy or I'm just, you know, thinking and meditating, I always look at this view. In vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye. I see them all the time, whether I'm thinking or whether I'm meditating or just maybe not even looking, they are always in my eyes. They are always in my mind. And he said, inward eye, in my mind, which is the bliss of solitude. Meaning, if you are sitting on your own in an isolated place, looking at these, flowers will make you absolutely happy and blissful. Notice the word bliss means complete happiness. And when my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils, and then my heart with pleasures, right? And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Clear, isn't it? Oh, hello.
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, any
Yes, it
questions?
is very clear, Doctor.
Yeah, very nice poem. And I think this is, as I said, a very good example of what we call lyrical poetry. And again, the next example, if you like, I can give you another example by Lord Byron. In the same, here you can see she dwelt among the untrodden ways. Really the same thing here. It's very simple. Maybe if I read it quickly for you later on, maybe I will read it for you to see. But look at it, it's very easy, simple, romantic, lovely poetry. And later on, I will read some of those back again. But with Byron here, she walks here again. This is another example of a lyric. Really, absolutely, page 30 in your book or booklet. Okay, look at it. She walks in beauty. You found it? You found it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's there. Now, again, this is a very typical example, I say. Yeah, very good. Yeah, very good. I'm happy that you are following with me. Very good. Now, here, really, Byron is giving us a very good example of, again, lyrical poetry. She walks in beauty. And I think this is a lovely poem. Look how he's talking here, that he's comparing her walks, to the exact beauty. Means, she walks in beauty. I mean, I think this is a very lovely expression here. Means the way she walks is absolutely lovely and beautiful. And he's using a lot of images here. Oh, sorry, before that, I did not talk about metaphors or similes. I will draw your attention to that later on. And maybe here, sorry. Notice here the speaker is describing his lovely girl, how she walks, and comparing her really to lovely, absolutely lovely images. Notice, she walks in beauty like the night. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress of softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their place. And on that cheek, and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Really, he's describing his girl here in a very lovely way. Really, she is completely beautiful. beautiful in every respect. The way she walks in beauty like the night. You know, like here, the word like the night, you know, this is we call simile, because using the word like the night, simile, as the night. She walks in beauty like the night. She walks in beauty like the night. She walks in, unstressed, stress. She walks in view, unstressed, stress. T like the night. Iambic tetra, 4. Iambic tetrameter. Tetra, 4. She walks you, T like the night. Again, night, bright. Skies, eyes. Light, denies. Again, night, bright, light. A. Skies, eyes, denies. B. Isn't it? A, B. So this is the rhyme. Iambic tetrameter, and the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is A, B. Bright, night, bright and light. A, skies, eyes, denies. B. You following? This is how we do it.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. This is how we do it in scanning the line and the rhyme scheme. In the exam, I will ask you to do that, to scan and to show me, to tell me the rhyme. Okay? And I will specify the line. I say, scan this line. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. You know, describing that night, which is very shining, and the sky is absolutely clear, no clouds, and the sky is full of stars. And, you know, the way he's describing her like a cloud, again, notice she walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. You know, it's very strange description here to describe a woman, a girl, the way she walks like the night in a beautiful night where no clouds, nothing, with shining with stars, you know, starry skies, you know, skies, and using skies, not just one sky, which is really lovely here. And all that's best of dark and bright. Notice, and all that's best of dark and bright. You know, all of this is the best thing that you can see, either the best form of dark or the best form of brightness, or the best form of darkness and the best form of brightness, which means again a sign of beauty. Meet in her aspect and in her eyes, meaning her eyes so dark, all this beauty, they meet in her eyes. Again, in her aspect means all her outside appearance, her looks, the way she looks. Aspect here means face, the way everything about her. Meet in her aspect means this beauty, all this beauty meet together in her face, in her body, everything, the way you look at her, and also in her eyes, he said. Well, really, this is absolutely lovely. Thus, mellowed to that tender light, you know, meaning all this beauty really gave this colorful, absolutely lovely, tender, beautiful, light, which heaven so gaudy day denies. He said, heaven sometimes, you know, during the day you don't see this beauty, he said. Heaven will show you this beauty only at night, when she walks in beauty like the night. So he's really comparing her to an absolute lovely natural phenomenon, which is the night and the starry sky, and the beauty of the darkness and the brightness, if you like, of the skies. Because yes, it's dark, yes, it's night, but the brightness of the sky, it's showing. He said it shows her beauty there. And he's saying during the day you don't see this. You don't see this beauty during the day. So she's as lovely as the night in all these forms of beauty. Wow. Yeah, Ala, do you think he's exaggerating? Hajar? He's exaggerating and he's maybe telling lies, huh? What do you think?
Maybe for us he is exaggerating, but in his eyes
Yeah,
he feels
really,
like it's real.
yeah, in a way you say, yes, this is absolutely lovely romantic description and exaggeration. But you see, when you describe someone you love, you exaggerate and you say all these things. I mean, this is the idea, and really this is what he's saying here. The exaggeration maybe is acceptable because of that, but really it's a lovely image here. Again, he gives in the second stanza. He said, "One shade the more, one ray the less." You know, had half impaired the nameless grace. He goes on to say, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. You know, one ray more, one ray less. You know, her beauty is always there. You know, it doesn't give any, you know, anything bad or anything wrong. Notice, had half impaired meaning no matter how less or no matter how maybe more, her beauty will always be absolutely clear and you know, absolutely nice to look at. And that's why he said nameless grace. Nameless grace. You know, again, using the word grace, which is, again, you say, like when you say graceful and, you know, ar-rahma. I don't know, really, this is an absolutely lovely image to say here about that. He said, which waves in every raven trees, tress. And in every, he said, everywhere, every move, every place, every sign, every, you know, the colors even. And again, he's using the word waves and raven. Again, of softly lightens over her face. You know, again, he's describing, you know, again, going back to her face and her shape, the lightens her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express, how pure, how dear their dwelling place. As if to say, you know, her beauty, again, he's going back to talk about her face and how lovely, how sweet, how serenely. Even he said, yes, she looks lovely, but also she has good thoughts. She has really a good mind, not just outside looks, but she has a mind. She has thoughts. She is a lovely, normally, really, sometimes we say people sometimes, and I think this is wrong sometimes to say this, that lovely girls or beautiful girls are dumb. And I don't think so. You know, some men do. Some men think that beautiful girls are dumb, meaning they don't use their minds. But maybe that's not true. What do you think? Yeah?
I had a friend. I had a friend of mine that also thinks that. He says handsome boys are dumb, and whenever one like wants to marry her, and if he is like a handsome boy, she would refuse. She thinks that they are dumb.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is true.
No, I'm talking about the beauty of girls, not boys. I mean, this is really amazing. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it's in English, they say, you know, a blondie dumb, a blondie dumb, meaning blonde girls who really have this blonde hair, you know the word, they color blonde, huh? And they think sometimes, I don't know, I mean, this is really funny, but this is the idea that sometimes could be true, could be wrong. And that's what he's saying. He said, no. He said, my girl is so beautiful, but she has thoughts. She has really thoughts. And he said, serenely sweet express, how pure, how dear their dwelling place. Meaning she has in her good heart, in her good mind, lovely, absolutely sweet, serene thoughts. So we say, wow. And again, he goes up in the third one, and on that cheek, over that brow. Really, this is lovely. This is lovely word. وعلى هذا الخد وفوق هذا الجبين. Huh? And on that cheek, وعلى ذاك الخد, and over that brow, وعلى هذا الجبين. Isn't it? How do you say this in Omani? Hello? Maybe you are shy, you don't want to say it, but really this is yeah?
No comment.
Sorry?
No comment, no comment.
No comment. Sultan, don't worry. Yeah, but really this is you know, he's giving us absolutely clear you know, lovely image. He wants to conclude this. On that cheek and over that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent. He said, yes, the beauty, so soft and so calm, but notice eloquent means she speaks, means she has minds. You know, she using the word eloquent for language means she has a great power of speech. The smiles that win, the tints that glow. Wow. You know, the smiles that win, you know, if she smiles, she will win your heart. And notice, and the tints that glow, meaning the colors that she has will glow, will shine like fire, like really light, like absolute lovely color. This is where we say tints, means all shades of colors that glow, but tell of day in goodness spent. The way you look at her face, you see her age. You say that her days, she spent her days in good ways. She was doing something really good and helpful and useful for herself. Tell of days means when you look into her face, you will see that she has spent her days in good ways, in good manners. She was working, she was studying, she was doing something, blah, 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 blah. And that's what he said, goodness spent. A mind at peace with all below. He's saying, yes, she has grateful, she has good mind, and she has good heart. A heart whose love is innocent. She has a lovely heart, and her love is, you know, innocent love. Wow, I like that. I love this. What do you think? Hello? No comments. As Sultan said, no comments. Well,
no, doctor.
Yeah.
It's so romantic, too much. It's too much.
Yeah, it's really lovely. Now, look at the next one here. Really, it's a long poem. I'll read it quickly, and I'm sure you will understand it, because I have another poem to read for you today, which is really, again, is a very good example of lyrical poetry. Remember, we're all here doing lyrical. When we two parted, عندما افترقنا يا here again, really in a very, absolutely very romantic, we too half broken-hearted to sever for years. Pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. Again parted, hearted, Again, notice parted, hearted, cold, told. So really here, A, B, parted, hearted, tears, years. So A, B, and then C, D. Cold, kiss, foretold this. So A, B, C, D. This is the rhyme. Again here, this is really trimeter. Sorry, you know, two here, if you like, dimeter. When we, sorry, really here, when we two parted, you know, here, if you like, you say parted, we two. Again, is, if you like, sometimes there are irregularities. This is really five syllables, not 4. When we two parted, or you know, if you don't want to say parted, because the word hearted, you know, the same thing. Normally in the exam, I will not give you a line which has problems. I will give you really a clear line to scan to make it easy for you. So here he's giving us really a lovely example of how he's saying goodbye to his friend, to his love. When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken-hearted to sever for years. We will be separated for years, you know, because you said sever means we will be separated. Pale grow thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss, means your face became very cold. And even when you said goodbye, when you kissed me goodbye, your kiss was very cold. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. Meaning that moment I will really remember. I will never forget that moment when I said goodbye. Your kiss I will always remember here. The dew of the morning sunk chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. The vows are all broken and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken and share in its shame. Thy name thee before me, a knell to mine ear. A shudder comes over me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I knew thee. Who knew thee too well? Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve. In secret we met, in silence I grieve. That thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive. If I should meet thee after long years, how could I greet thee? With silence and tears. How could I greet thee? With silence and tears. Wow, absolutely lovely poem again by Byron when he's, you know, he's saying here to say goodbye to his love. I think that's, again, a very good example of what I said, lyrical poetry. Another poem here, I said, remind me not, remind me not. I will read it for you next time, not now, because in another form. I have another example by these people. Somebody, I think I read this for you before, and maybe I will go back to him here. Yeah, it's page 21. I read this for you before, and this is again. I'll finish today's lecture with this. It's called again Thomas Campion. Thomas Campion, The Garden. And this is the last one. Quickly, I'll read it. And I think it's a very lovely example of lyrical, very good example of lyrical poetry. Lovely example of lyrical poetry. Look at it, page 22 in your 21. Okay, 21. It's called The Garden. Again here by Thomas Campion, who's Elizabethan romantic poet, if you like. Again, he said here, you know, this poem is full of images. And I read this for you last time about the question of really strange metaphors. There is a garden in her face where roses and white lilies grow. A heavenly paradise is that place wherein all pleasant fruits do flow. You following? You following, girls?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's a lovely example of lyrical poetry. This is really a very, and the last example. As I told you, many of the poems we read in this course really can be seen or can be classed as lyrical poetry. And here, this poem as an example here. The Garden by Campion. There is a garden in her face where roses and white lilies grow, a heavenly paradise in that place wherein all pleasant fruits do flow. These cherries grow which none may buy, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Those cherries fairly do enclose of orient pearl a double row, which when her lovely laughter shows, they look like rosebuds filled with snow. Yet them nor peer nor prince can buy, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Her eyes like angels watch them still, her brows like bended bows do stand, threatening with piercing frowns to kill all that attempt with eye or hand those sacred cherries to come nigh, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Notice here, I even gave you this example before about the refrain. The last line is repeated in the 3 stanzas. Again, the till cherry ripe themselves do cry. You know, he repeats the same line. He's saying here really, he's saying this lovely woman, you know, describing her face like a garden. And he's saying, but sadly, nobody is getting anything from this garden. All this lovely garden, nobody is buying or looking at this garden. You know, it's very sad here. He's saying how beautiful this woman is, and she's not lucky. Nobody's looking at her. She's not lucky. She didn't find the man to marry her. And she's always, you know, all her beauty is there and maybe is dying, and nobody is looking at her. You know, and he's saying, what a shame. There is a garden in her face where roses and white lilies grow. Notice here really the metaphors, roses and lilies, you know, and the garden, you know, describing, you know, her face with a garden with a lot of roses, with a lot of lilies. And again, he's saying that even paradise in her face, a heavenly paradise in that place. That face looks like, you know, again, is a very strange metaphor here to compare the beauty of a woman to paradise. Wherein all pleasant fruits do flow. He said, in paradise you have all those lovely fruits, like this garden, which has all sorts of fruits and all sorts of flowers, all sorts of things, all sorts of lovely things. You know, they grow in that face, in that garden. These cherries grow, which none may buy. Maybe in that face, he said, there are cherries. You know, cherries, we use in the word in Arabic, al-karaz. You know, again, the color of the cherry is very, you know, the red, the color, you know, the beauty of the cherry is so lovely. He said, these cherries grow in her face, but nobody buys them. Come on. Why? These cherries grow, which none may buy, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Even those cherries saying, hey, I'm here. Why don't you come to me? I'm here. Those cherries fairly do enclose of orient pearl, a double row. Again, in this face, he said, you know, he's comparing her, the beauty of her face. Those cherries also, they have, you know, two pearl of orient pearl. Orient pearl, her eyes, he's comparing her eyes and beauty to pearls, orient pearl.
No,
A double row, two lines.
doctor, here
Yeah,
the chair right, he
Yeah.
means her lips. So two lines are the lips, the upper lip and the lower lip, and the pearls are the teeth. Yeah, that's what it means.
oh, very
Yes.
good. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like that. Yes, you can say the same thing. Absolutely. The cherry ripe, yeah, he's saying this. Yes, absolutely. I take this. I agree with you completely. So really, this is again is very interesting here. The you know, again when he's saying those cherries fairly too enclosed orient pearl. Yeah, those cherries again, her face. Sorry, her lips. They enclose within them the teeth. Yeah, a double row again. Orient pearl, a double row means two, the upper and the lower. Yeah, thank you very much. This is really lovely. Yes. Again, he said that laughter, he said, which when her lovely laughter shows. Again, when she laughs, you can see the lovely beauty of her teeth. They look like rosebuds filled with snow. They're so lovely, so white, like rosebuds. Yet them nor peer nor prince can buy. No one can buy such beauty. No one can buy such, or have such teeth. The cherry-ripe themselves do cry, even as if they are calling and, saying, her eyes like angels watch them still. Again, he's comparing her eyes to angels. Her brows like bended bows do stand. Again, he's comparing her brows, threatening with piercing frowns to kill all that attempt with eye or hand. Anybody who comes to touch or to do something maybe wrong to her, they will be punished. They will be, as she's saying, will be threatened. With piercing frowns to kill all the attempts, all that attempt with eye or hand. Anybody who attempts to touch or harm her, they will be punished. Those sacred cherries do come nigh, till cherry-ripe themselves do cry. Wow, I like that. Really, I like that. It's lovely. Yes, so that's it. For our examples today of the sonnet, of the lyric poetry, and I think that's it for today. I will leave it for you. If you have any question, then you are welcome to ask. If you have any question,
No, doctor. Thank you.
Okay, so next time I will give you, according to our outline, I will give you more of that. If you check the outline, you can prepare the poems for next time. We have Margaret Atwood and William Wordsworth. Again, she dwelt among the untrodden ways. I will give you that later. Okay. See you next time, inshallah. And as usual, as you know, I'm recording all these things and I'm posting it on Moodle, so you can go back and check them anytime you like. If you don't have any question, then that's it for today, and goodbye.
All right, doctor.